You see a fancy car on the road and are not sure which state it is registered in? Here's a quick lookout map for you. The number plates bear the state code as well as the district code. The organization of the country into states, districts, talukas, villages helps in the task of administration. India has seen numerous administrative systems under different dynasties and kingdoms. However, today's administrative structure was set up by the British, and we will now look at this setup in our subtopic, Setting Up a New Administration. British territories were broadly divided into administrative units called presidencies. There were three presidencies, namely Bengal, Madras, and Bombay. Each was ruled by a governor. The supreme head of the administration was the Governor General. Warren Hastings, the first Governor General, introduced several administrative reforms, notably in the sphere of justice. From 1772, a new system of justice was established. Each district was to have two courts, a criminal court called as Faujdari Adalat and a civil court called as Diwani Adalat. Maulvis and Hindu Pandits interpreted Indian laws for the European district collectors who presided over civil courts. The criminal courts were still under a Qazi, a judge, and a Mufti, but under the supervision of the collectors. A major problem was that the Brahmin Pandits gave different interpretations of local laws based on different schools of the Dharma Shastra. To bring about uniformity, in 1775, 11 Pandits were asked to compile a digest of Hindu laws. N. B. Halhed translated this digest into English. By 1778, a code of Muslim laws was also compiled for the benefit of European judges. Under the Regulating Act of 1773, a new Supreme Court was established, while a Court of Appeal, the Sadar Nizamat Adalat, was also set up at Calcutta. The principal figure in an Indian district was the collector. As the title suggests, his main job was to collect revenue and taxes and maintain law and order in his district with the help of judges, police officers, and darogas. Daroga is probably the Hindi name of sub-inspector of police. His office, the Collectorate, became the new center of power and patronage that steadily replaced previous holders of authority. With regard to organization of the armed forces, the British needed to maintain their military superiority. The early rulers, the Mughals, their army mainly composed of cavalry or savars, which were trained soldiers on horseback. They also had infantry known as Paidal soldiers who marched on foot with training in archery and use of sword. Infantry mostly consisted of peasants and did not require much training. The East India Company also recruited peasants. They were called the Sepoy Army. The word sepoy meant sipahi, which was a soldier. Infantry were paidal soldiers with training in archery and use of sword. As warfare technology changed from the 1820s, the cavalry requirements of the company's army declined. This is because the British Empire was fighting in Burma, Afghanistan, and Egypt, where soldiers were armed with muskets and matchlocks. The soldiers of the company's army had to keep pace with changing military requirements, and its infantry regiments now became more important. In the early 19th century, the British began to develop a uniform military culture. Soldiers were provided European style training, drill, and discipline. This training often ignored caste and religious feelings and was one of the causes of the revolt of 1857. We have an entire chapter coming up this year on the revolt of 1857. Thus, the British East India Company was transformed from a trading company to a territorial colonial power. This is the Supreme Court of India, located at New Delhi, and we will look at its powers and functions in our upcoming chapter in the Political and Social Life segment, the Judiciary.